she knows she can fly away.
Hi, I'm Danny, and today I will be sharing with you my most anticipated books from 2016. I went through the Goodreads YA section for upcoming books for 2016. I think there was about 800 books that I managed to get through before I decided, okay, I've got my 16, that's enough. So I'm going to be sharing those books with you today. First I have First Life by Gina Showalter. It is a well-known fact that First Life is kind of a dress rehearsal and the real life starts after death. So this is a girl who in her first life has been put in a insane asylum because she refuses to let her parents decide what life will be her afterlife. And there are two different worlds, as you can see from the cover. One looks kind of gray and not very good, and then the other one looks like true paradise. And I'm guessing she wants to go to the true paradise, but her parents want her to go to the other world, and she refuses to let them pick that for her. So it does sound really interesting, and I am looking forward to getting into this book. And this book is released on February 23rd. Next I have The Star-Touched Queen. I cannot pronounce this author's name, so I will post it here. And this is about a girl named Maya who is promised to marriage to a king from another kingdom. And she is very reluctant to go into this marriage and even scared of him because she's heard terrible rumors about him. And when she gets there, she finds out that he's not as bad or as scary as everyone is saying. And she actually is able to find her own voice becoming his queen. But everything is not as good as it seems. His castle has tons of locked doors that Maya is just desperate to get behind. I believe this is another Arabian fairy tale retelling, although I'm not sure which one this is, but I am looking forward to getting into this book. And this book will be released on May 3rd. Next I have The Imposter Queen by Sarah Fine. This book came out on January 5th, so it is already out. And this is about a girl named Ellie who is prophesied to be the next Vashti, I believe it's pronounced. And it is a queen who has power over ice and fire. And when the previous queen dies, the power is automatically supposed to transfer to Ellie. But when the queen dies, nothing happens. The powers have just gone missing. So Ellie, ashamed and afraid, flees, and then I believe she stumbles upon the mystery of where the powers went and why they never transferred to her. So this book does sound really interesting, and I am looking forward to getting into it. Next I have Sword and Voice by Kathy McMillan, and this I believe comes out January 19th. This is about a girl who is from the lowest class in this kingdom society, and her father was teaching her to speak this forbidden language which only the royalty and their teachers are allowed to know. And when it is discovered that she knows this language, she is brought forward to teach, I believe it is the prince of this kingdom, the language, because his tutor was executed for trying to teach slaves the language. But of course, her being of almost slave class herself, it is forbidden for her to know this language, and if it is discovered that she does, she will most likely be killed. Next I have The Glittering Court by Michelle Mead, and I believe this comes out April 5th. This is about a countess who runs away to escape an arranged marriage, and I believe there are two different kind of worlds. There is like the United States, and then there's the UK. The UK is kind of set in a Elizabethan time, and then America is more set in like colonial times. And so she runs away from one country to another, and she enters this thing called the Glittering Court, which is supposed to take impoverished poor girls and turn them into high society wives. And so this girl enters the Glittering Court, and while she's there, this guy discovers her secret that she is not as low class as she says, that she is actually a countess, and they kind of keep each other's secrets. And I've never read a Michelle Mead book before, and this one sounds really interesting. Next I have The Assassin's Heart by Sarah Ayres, and this comes out February 2nd. In this kingdom there are 3 family of assassins. Our main character's name is Leah, and she wakes up, her house is on fire, and all her family are dead. And she escapes the fire, and she knows that it was most likely one of the other 2 assassin families that killed her family, which is hard on her because in one of the assassin families she has a secret relationship with one of the family's sons. She knows most likely that her lover's family killed her family, so either way she's getting revenge. And it sounds really, really interesting. I've never read a revenge story before, and this one sounds really interesting. Next I have Reign of Shadows by Sophie Jordan. This is about a princess whose mother and father, the king and queen, were killed, and she has to flee the kingdom, although she is living in a tower not far from the castle, which was her home. and she has to pretend she is dead and convince the whole world she is dead so that she can keep herself alive. And then she meets this boy and then they're on the run together, but it sounds awesome. Next I have Shadow Queen by C.J. Redwine. And this is a Cinderella retelling. Cinderella, no. This is a Snow White retelling. And this releases on February 16th. So in this story, Snow White has magic and so does the evil queen. And so she decides to enhance her magic so that she can go after the queen. But the queen is the most wicked sorceress that the kingdom has ever seen. So she has to be smarter, faster, and stronger than her. And I'm so looking forward to this one. I've read Snow White retellings before. They were okay, but they never incorporated magic. So I am so looking forward to this one. And I believe this one is a standalone, but I could be wrong. Next I have Anne I Darken by Kirsten White. This is about a princess and a prince who are given by their father to this other kingdom to kind of train as soldiers. But just as when they expect to go home, the kingdom actually ends up keeping them for years and years. And slowly but surely they start becoming friends with this prince from that kingdom. And she doesn't really want to trust him because she doesn't believe she can trust anyone but her brother in this kingdom. But slowly but surely she finds herself falling for him. And that is all I know about this book. And this releases on June 28th. Next I have The Dark Days Club by Allison Goodman, and this releases on January 26th. And the only thing I know about this book is that there is a duchess who is also a demon hunter, and that's all I need to know. Let's move on. Next is Lady Midnight by Cassandra Clare, and this will be released March 8th. And need I say more, this is Emma Carstairs' story. If you've read City of Heavenly Fire, you know who Emma Carstairs is. I'm not going to give any spoilers, but this takes place in, I believe, LA. Download are being murdered all over the city, and then Emma has this chance to get Mark back, and that's all I really know, and that's all I need to know. I'm a huge fan of Cassandra Clare's, and I am so looking forward to this book. Next I have Prophecy of Magic by Michelle Nadeau. This is a book about a girl who goes to a new school and finds out that her homeroom is full of witches and that she herself is a witch. And then she starts getting close to this guy named Brent, and she finds out that any girl who gets close to him ends up getting hurt very, very badly. And she finds out that his ex is actually one of the witches, and that she casts these evil spells to get rid of any girl who even thinks of making Brent their new boyfriend. This is a mix of Egyptian and Greek mythology along with supernatural magic, and I'm looking so forward to it. I enjoyed I enjoyed her Secret Diamond Sisters book, and I'm definitely looking forward to seeing what her more magical stories seem like. And unfortunately, this is only coming out on ebook form and not physical book. Next I have Never Night by Jay Kristoff. And this is a book about a girl named Maya who is the daughter of an executed traitor, and because of her ability to speak to the shadows, which I'm really interested to find out what that means, she winds up at the door of a retired killer, and she enters into a school to become an assassin, I believe. This is not the final cover, and this comes out August 9th. Next is Truth Witch by Susan Dennard, and this book is about a truth witch, hence the title, and she is the best friends with a thread witch, and truth witch are a very wanted commodity in this world of war. Truth witch have the ability to tell whether you are telling the truth or a lie, and her best friend Isolde, I want to say, is a thread witch, and she has the ability to see all the invisible threads that tie people together in all sorts of different ways. And so while she is trying to protect her best friend Sophie, who is the truth witch, they run across a prince and I believe a assassin who is called a blood witch, although no one believes that blood witches truly exist. They have the ability to track people by their blood, so I guess you could say he's part bloodhound. And so I am really looking forward to this book. I'm looking forward to this book so much that I pre-ordered it, and it should be here within a few days if I don't already have it, that is. Next I have A Quart of Mist and Fury, and this is the sequel to A Court of Thorns and Roses. This is not the final cover, and I cannot wait to see the final cover. This comes out on May 3rd. Unfortunately, I cannot talk about this book because it is a sequel, and it would spoil those of you who have not read the first book, A Court of Thorns and Roses, which I highly recommend. This is a Beauty and the Beast retelling, and I'm told this is going to be kind of a Hades Persephone retelling. And my number one, my top most anticipated book of 2016, does not have a title nor a cover, not even a temporary cover, and the date for this book is also unknown. And that is the 5th book in the Throne of Glass series, which does not have a name or a title, but I'm seriously wondering what the name of the book will be, because if you look at all the previous books, it kind of gives you an idea around what the name will be, such as the first book was called Throne of Glass, the second book was called Crown of Midnight, the third book was called Heir of Fire, the fourth book was called Queen of Shadows. So I'm seriously wondering what the next book will be called. I'm guessing maybe King of something or Prince of something maybe? I don't know, but I'm so looking forward to not only seeing the cover, because all the covers in this series are beautiful, and I'm so looking forward to seeing the name. This book, which is the latest book so far, was epic, and I know the next book is going to be even better. Well, that is my top 16 books that will be coming out in 2016. Bye!